Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri. Today we're going to talk about working from home, but more specifically, this is for the finance banking community. I also am going to give you a prediction of what I think is going to happen, so what companies are actually going to do. And then at the end of this, I'm going to tell you what I think they should do, but I don't think is actually going to happen. So, prediction of what's really going to happen and what I think is optimal here. What I think companies are going to do is I believe when we get back to things, I think it's going to be like probably late summer. Some companies might push out to early fall, maybe a little bit later. But what they're going to be doing here is saying, okay, everybody's working from home. We know you all want to work from home. So yes, there's been polls that more than 50% of employees who are currently working from home would like to work from home after the pandemic kind of adjustment here. And what I think they're going to do is say, okay, we're going to be really nice to you guys. We're going to do 2 to 3 days from home per week. But it's going to be up to your manager to schedule, which days that you can or can't work from home. So I think senior levels are going to essentially delegate downward, which is fine. But they're trying to take the pressure off of their decision making by saying, hey, look, we're really nice guys. We're going to let all of you guys work from home a few days a week if you've been working from home and if you're in specific positions, which I completely understand. I mean, imagine being, so we're talking about banks here, imagine being a teller, right? You can't work from home because your job is to interact with customers face to face. So there are roles, there are positions where it's not feasible to work from home. I completely understand that. But for the employees that are going to be able to work from home a few days a week, it's going to get delegated down to managers. I predict also that moving out, there's going to be a kind of a test period and they're not going to say anything about it. And I can see them saying, okay, maybe you get 3 days at home to start. And then I can see them backing that off and say maybe doing like 1 or 2 days from home, right? Corporations, senior management, executives, bankers everywhere, they're always stuck in this mindset that you have to be on site. You have to be in the office here, right? And I don't know. I don't see a lot of benefits from actually doing this. So I'll go through these here, I guess, briefly. Some of the cons, so I do understand there are issues with working from home. So I worked from home 3 days a week on average before the pandemic, and then coming into the pandemic, right, I'm working from home full time. So I'm used to this. I've been doing this for years with other colleagues in the office and me at home, and then all of us at home. So I kind of have that different perspective than most. But there are issues with the fact of, it's hard to network and it's hard to meet people career-wise. And so I completely understand that, right? So a lot of the relationships I have built across my career are in other departments. Just happens, I sit in seat, I don't know, say seat A, and 10 seats down, there's another guy in another department and we happen to get coffee at the same time. And so I end up just chatting with these people and you make connections and friendships. So I get it. You're not going to make that many connections outside of your department. Then I've seen a lot of articles talking about it's hard to bump into like senior management. So no, not just your boss, but like maybe your boss's boss or whatnot, and be able to kind of network with them and they can see, you at the office and it can maybe lead to promotions and all that. This, again, I see it, I understand it, but really that just comes down to your management's lazy. Like, I mean, you can call it what you want, but you need to be reaching out to employees that are 2 levels below you. So at an old, I guess, director of directors, head of a department. And he always said, the most important piece for a career is networking 2 levels above you. So network with your boss's boss, right? Again, that goes the other way around too. If you're 2 levels up, you should be looking at the people below you, a few levels down and seeing how work's getting done, how things are happening, right? You need to go out of your way to actually work with employees and be a real manager here. So don't be lazy and say, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do this and whatnot. I'm very, very critical on people that do this and don't do this, right? I talk to people all over these banks, so I get a good perspective and I don't care, right, if you're like the highest of high or the lowest of low in a bank. Again, just go out, be friendly, chat with people. But if you're managing people and they're in your line of management, you need to make an effort. Like, that is your responsibility as a manager. So put that little note on there. The other issue I see is, so this is going to be a pro and a con. Let's talk about the pro part first. I want to see more working from home. So this is what I would like here instead of what I predict. What I would like here is to see the ability to work from home full time. Okay? But, so I'm going to put a little caveat on this. the way offices are being structured, and this is one of the issues, even working from home 2 or 3 days a week, you're going to have so many desks, so much office space to house all these employees. As somebody who's worked from home in the past, I still had to have a desk. So it's not saving you any money. I still need a full-time desk, at least for me being a quant, right? I have textbooks, I have papers, I have all this stuff. And for me, it was actually very inconvenient to even go to the office because I stored the majority of that at my house because I was working 3 days, at home. So I needed all of my textbooks. I need all these academic papers, right? I need stuff to look at and read and research and put everything together. It's not convenient to carry and track, books and things from side to side. Now, if you have paperwork, for example, like a validation report, it's easy to throw it in a bag and transfer it to the office and work on it and take notes, right? Maybe you have a notebook, a validation report, and a few other things, and to bring it back. It's no big deal. So you need to think about that as well, is how many desks are you really saving by working from home a few days a week, right? So I push now from working from home full time, but I think the way it should be done is you have the option to work full time, but you set up the office in a way that you're going to either have rotational desks or full-time desks. So if there are employees that say, do or die, I want to be in the office, I don't see any issue with that. But at the same time, I think they should allow people to work from home as much as possible. And knowing that, they should get rid of office spaces and just have you designated in those, your full-time office at home. Now, what they need to do, though, with these office spaces is tear down a bunch of this desk spacing, and they need to create a bunch of conference rooms, okay? So one thing I like, so I live in Dallas, Fort Worth, right? For me to commute around, my colleagues live like over an hour and something away from me, and we all kind of hub and meet up at the office anyways for our daily jobs when we work in the office. Now, you need to have conference rooms because if you do have employees that live locally, right, it's not a big deal to drive into the office like once a week, right? Or maybe you need to come in here and there. So whenever a meeting pops up, it would be amazing just to meet with my colleagues, show up, have a meeting, get some stuff done, maybe have lunch with them, shoot the breeze, right? Do some networking and go home. Like, this is what I was kind of doing before. But again, if you have a really rigid schedule of you can only work, 3 days a week, you can only work 1 day a week, that's great, but it lacks that flexibility and that freedom. And I think if you give that to employees, you can reduce your office size. So in this case, right, if you're working from home full time, where you have a lot more flexibility, it's easier to say you need to work from home and this is your office space. We're not giving you a designated desk, right? People can make the decision, yes, I want to be in the office. No, I don't. Again, if you have conferences, like conference rooms, they can come and meet with their teams. They also can come and have a rotational desk. But again, you'd be like me, understanding you don't need all this. Like, I don't need to bring all of my stuff because I know, right, if I have a lot of stuff to do or I have a very specific project and I need all these extra things to do my job, like my textbooks and all that, I can actually go and stay at home, right? So stay at home with this and actually get a lot more done. So again, I think they're going to make people go back. I think they're going to scale it back and it's going to end up being maybe 1-2 days a week. I don't think corporations are going to save that much money doing this because you're going to have stressed out employees now that are like rotationing desks and then you don't get to sit where you normally sit, and as the environment's shocked and changed, it's going to cause all kinds of issues. Also, if too many people come in on one day, that's going to cause issues. So now they're going to have rotational schedules, which is more planning and more headaches. I think it's a waste of time. I don't think we should all go back to the office. But again, I think this hybrid solution here that they're kind of throwing out is kind of a fairy tale of like, we know everyone can work from home full time, but it would be nice to come back in the office. But I think the solution to that is, again, having those conference rooms and allowing everybody to come and meet when they need to. But again, you could save on real estate by just designating, right, setting this up more as like a conference room area and a meetup. Now that being said as well, it would be nice to have more amenities for these too. So I'm going to throw this out here, right? Employees always have like this dream list. I'll throw it out. I like what we have now at the setup I currently work at. I've liked the setup I've had at past companies I've worked at, right? It's nice to have coffee available. It's just nice to have a casual, relaxing environment. So if you're going to build these rooms, don't make them cheap and stark and gray. Try to make them exciting and vibrant and like productive. So when people come, you can get a lot more done. So these are just my takes on working from home. I'm going to mention right here at the end though as well, working from home is going to be significantly different for most people out there after COVID. And what I mean by this is I guess we're kind of getting to that point. When we had everything hit, right, you had kids at home. If you have kids, your spouse is at home, like you have all this extra stuff you're trying to do and manage at home while trying to work. As COVID lifts, right, and we all go back to normal life, even if you have you and your spouse working from home, so me and my spouse work from home, this is my office, I spend, hours and hours in here just working. My wife works in a different area of the house, so we're very separated. But for kids, for example, right, you have kids that are in school, they're going to be going back to school. So your hectic, crazy life of trying to manage kids and work, that's going to reduce significantly. So I think it'll be a lot more enjoyable. Some of the benefits here, right? I commute probably about 45 minutes now each way to do this. When I lived in New York City, I commuted an hour each way. I've seen people commute 2 hours plus each way. Again, you start thinking about that, right? As a company, you're demanding or asking for them to work, let's just say 8 hours a day. But realistically, when you start adding on commute times and everything else, it's going to create a lot more headaches, right? You're actually asking for like 9, 10, 11, 12 hours of their day. And I think that makes it stressful. And the final point here, this whole video, the reason I think that people should be able to work from home full time is going to be competitiveness. So Quant Finance, it is extremely hard to jump and move ship a lot of times because you settle down. So I'm in Dallas, Texas, right? I would love to work, for example, for a variety of different firms, hedge funds, banks, right? I have a very diverse skill set. But for me, there's not really any hedge funds, especially quant hedge funds in Dallas or even like the Texas area more so. So like I'm not looking to move. Now, if you actually open up and allow people to work from home, right? You as a company, you actually have a competitive advantage now in the fact that you can pull talent from anywhere in the country, right? You can pull the best talent from New York City and Chicago, for example, which is where a lot of it's pooled up at. But if you're a bank or an organization, that's in, Kansas or, Montana or somewhere else, you should be able to pull better talent in and not require them to move. So now you can bring in talent from all over the United States. Again, you could also pull in talent globally, which is a consideration, but there are a lot of security issues with IT in doing so. There's a lot of other issues too as well, but I'm not going to go into those for this video. But I see it as a huge advantage. I think companies that are going to be doing this will be getting better talent. I know some tech firms have announced that they have forever working from home policies in place. I think a lot of the best talent is going to continue to go into tech just because they offer better benefits than finance and banking. Again, you could jump ship from place to place. You could have a cheaper cost of living. You can live near family. Your work-life balance is going to be 10 times better from working from home full-time versus not working from home full-time. So those are my takeaways. That's what I'm predicting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.